An old man taught me this. Actually, a wino taught me this. Out of all people, he said, "Don't chase two rabbits because you'll end up losing them both." Right. So I kept that ideology through adulthood and my writing career to focus on one thing and go after it. And just so happened, literature was the thing that I focused on. And it got me to places that I never thought I would be. So I'm forever grateful for that.
And I understand a teacher of yours when you were younger had a pretty big impact in terms of getting you reading. Maybe not necessarily writing right away, but wasn't it a school teacher that kind of set you in the right direction?
Yeah, absolutely. I had an unconventional journey to literature. Like I said, or as you said earlier, I was bounced around from foster home to foster home, so I never really had stability. And that fact led me to having behavioral issues. So a teacher, her name was Mildred Robinson, I'll never forget her. I kept getting kicked out of school. And she knew my situation because, Flint is small. So she went to the principal and she said, "You're doing this young man a disservice by keep sending him home because at least here he gets a square meal supervision. And rather than kicking him out, let him sit in my class." And I think I was about second grade. She was the sixth grade English teacher. So history repeats itself. I got kicked out and I went to her class. And while I was in her class, I was getting 8 hours of English, no other subject. And it was repetition because she taught the same curriculum to every different class. And she would have me write these little essays. And at first I thought she was punishing me and I just didn't understand it. And when I got a tad bit older, I was a superb writer. And she planted a seed when I was 8 years old that didn't come into fruition and didn't sprout until I was around 18. And when I started writing, it just flowed like water. And I will always be very grateful to Mildred Robinson. She's passed, but she changed my life.
Flint makes a brief appearance in your latest book, Cubana. I think it only appears, the word Flint, I think only appears one time. It's the hometown of one of the main characters, Zoo. But the novel Cubana is set mostly in Cuba, New Orleans, and the Louisiana Bayou. I'm curious why you chose those settings.
Before writing this book, I was inspired by a trip me and my wife took to Cuba. And I saw things there that changed my way of thinking, right? Just going through the deep jungles and seeing the family of people there, right? They had a different ideology on drug trafficking, right? While we in America frown on it because it is bad. I'm not an advocate for drugs, but I'm just talking about the mindset of a Cuban family that creates cocaine, ships out cocaine. It's like a family business. It's like the Walmart, right? It's like it's almost religious, right? They look at the United States and say, "You guys do commerce very well," but us here, we honor family and we make the best cocaine in the world. And when I was learning these things, I just came back with the story on my mind.
You write pretty convincingly about the international drug trade.
I learned a lot through what I used to do when I was younger. And now I just write about it. I was in it long enough to understand the true, authentic ins and outs of it so I can convey it to my readers. And for that, I'm grateful, even though I was doing something bad. But, there's an old saying, Johnny, there's a difference between doing wrong and being wrong. And from my perspective, I think I took what I had and made the best of it.
What genre do you write in?
I don't want to pigeonhole my writing to street literature, right? I'm just I'm a suspense writer with edge.
When I was reading it and I was thinking about genre, you know, because I'm a book publisher, so I can't help but thinking about things like genre. I was thinking your novel might be called a surreal erotic horror karma novel.
You know what? I like that. I like that. I like that.
If and when this pandemic ever ends, what will you miss most about being quarantined?
Um, it makes me feel normal. Me being in quarantine is what I do every day because I'm a writer, right? So literally not much has changed. Um, I stay in the house. I write. I mean, between me and my wife, we have over 45 novels. So, I mean, that kind of explains itself. But the one thing I'll miss is spending the time with my son. Like I really got to hone in on who he was as a person. And I'll tell anybody to this day, man, a father is the best title I ever had in my life. And during this pandemic, I've dove deeper into fatherhood, and it just makes me happy.